All right, you are locked into MMA Canada and very excited to be talking to an individual who secured quite the victory at BFL 82 Night of Champions on January the 23rd, defending his BFL featherweight championship against Drew Brokenshire and securing that submission victory by way of rear naked choke in the second round. Great getting to have Radley Da Silva on the MMA Canada platform after such a big win. How are you doing, man? I imagine you're feeling pretty good right now.
Good, man. It's good to be back on here talking to you. Yeah, I'm not feeling too bad at all, just lots of food. The abs are disappearing quick, but gonna get back on the horse soon.
Yeah, and just, what a quality win here. Like, did that kind of play out relative to your expectations, large in part? Was there anything that kind of surprised you in that fight? Because it seemed like you kind of generated another victory that got a lot of people talking again.
Yeah, man, everything honestly went according to plan. Weirdly enough, even the adversity, because I had such a hard training camp that I feel like I almost had to experience a little bit of adversity just to like validate what I went through in camp, because I went through such a hard camp that and even though, yeah, like I said, the adversity moment, I expected it. Like even the exact position and the exact like submission, I guess, I literally expected that. So and luckily I, put myself through a lot of mental preparation, you could say, and it paid off in the end.
And obviously, if it's not something you want to get into, feel free to not, divulge the information. But like, what was giving you, I guess, so many problems in the camp? Like, what were the roadblocks primarily?
Yeah, I already talked about it in my post-fight interview. So basically, I just, from the start of camp, like right away, I got sprained ankle. Like I couldn't really run or jump or do anything on it. And then like a week after that, I got pretty sick. And that sickness led all the way up until the fight. Like I was sick the entire camp. I, stupidly only started doing antibiotics like maybe a week and a half out because I'm like, man, if I don't get over the sickness, I don't think I can fight. So I started antibiotics, just I didn't even finish them because it was too close to the fight. So I actually just stopped them like two days before the fight. And then I think 2 weeks out before the fight, I actually got a tear in my AC joint in my shoulder. And just I just wasn't gonna pull out of this fight for anything, man. It was just, injury after injury on top of sickness and that it was just yeah, a really hard camp too. I couldn't really train the way I wanted to at all. So I every day I just had to find a way to work around what was going on, and I just knew that I wasn't going to pull out because this was my opportunity, and I feel like all I have to do is make it to the day of the fight, and I'll figure out a way to win.
And I guess too, because you had gone through a stretch, like more so earlier in your career, where it was hard to get a lot of fights locked in. So maybe that's kind of part of it as well. Like it's like you want to maintain that certain regular strength of schedule and you have your goals for, wanting to get maybe like one or two more regional fights and then getting to the UFC thereafter. So maybe that's, playing into it, I would make the inference on, I guess.
For sure, man. Yeah, after you've had the layoff I had, it's any opportunity you get to fight, you do whatever it possibly takes to get in there. You know what I'm saying? So, and the way life has played out for me, it feels like if I do get in there, no matter what I'm going through, it's where I'm meant to be. Win, lose, or draw. Like I'm not gonna if the whole event just all of a sudden collapses and everything gets canceled, that's one thing. But if it's something that's in my control and I can get there, like then that's where I'm supposed to be. So I just kind of go with the flow on that.
Yeah, and it seemed like from some interviews I was seeing leading into the fight, you really highly touted Brokenshire's skills and feel like he's like the kind of opponent that you need to have at this juncture in your career in terms of a logical next test. So just great that you were able to also get that as well, just face an experienced individual that you seem to really have that respect for.
Yeah, 100%. Like he's coming off a good win. Like he just beat one of my teammates, Josh, and he did it, pretty quick and like made it look pretty good. So he's no slouch, man. He just like a year ago beat Andre Ewell, who just came out of the UFC. Like he's definitely only losing to guys that are like, UFC level. So he's got way more experience than I do. You can't buy experience, right? you gotta go in there and you gotta live it. So he's got all the experience, he's got all the skill. He's been doing MMA since like I think 2009 or something. So you can only imagine all the skills you acquire throughout those years, right? And skills on top of experience and all that, and proving that he's already like has the skills to beat UFC level guys. That's exactly the test I need as a young up and coming prospect. And luckily, I was able to do it faster than the last two champions, and I think a little bit more fun too because of all of all the blood and all that stuff. But yeah, it's just it couldn't have gone any better. Like even though I don't like to show my toughness and all that, like that's not something I'm in the game to do, is to show how tough I am or how gritty I am. But at least some people got to see it too, right? And it showed that I'm not just skilled and flashy and all that, but I have the will to win as well.
Yeah, and even just using the binary of your last two fights, I feel like you've showed a lot of yourself that I guess would benefit this path that you've outlined of wanting to get to the UFC because you get this massive viral knockout in your, I guess, penultimate fight there. And then this last fight, like you said, don't necessarily want to show the toughness, but at the same time, when you're put in those moments, I think it really, I guess, levels up the, I guess, admiration or the perception from others of just what these people can do in tough moments and really have to, face that resistance and, be a fighter in that sense, like battling back against that. So it seems like you had a good confluence of factors in your last couple fights, from what I can tell, at least.
Yeah, just showing a little bit more of myself each time. Uh, yeah, like I said, definitely don't want to be doing that much at all. And luckily, at the end of the day, nothing actually came out of that. Like there's no injury, there's nothing. Like I'm perfect. I could fight this week again if I wanted to. So at the end of the day, yeah, it looked kind of sketchy, because heel hooks always look sketchy, but I get put in that position so many times in training that I almost disregarded it for the first like couple seconds. And then when I actually tried to like escape it, I had the ankle brace on and it made it way harder than I thought it would. So I had like a face of excruciating effort. It was like I was like really I putting so much effort in trying to get out that I was grimacing and making that face. So I think it made it look worse than it was. But if you even look, even when I'm getting the choke, I made the exact same face of like trying to put so much effort into something that I'm like making that face of like really grimacing and making it look like it's like I'm trying really hard. So that's kind of I guess I got to work on that because yeah, I guess the visuals don't help. But yeah, when I'm trying really hard, and I guess like I just yeah didn't control my face well, but I was fine the whole time. There was no real pain. It was more of just like yeah, just the effort of really wanting to get out. I guess I just showed it on my face, but it's weird enough. The ankle, the heel hook didn't hurt at all, but what did hurt was the calf slicer attempt there right after that, because I still kind of feel like the back of my knees a little bit sore, but I could still go train like right now. Like, but the calf slicer was actually more painful. And then when I was in that, I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna tap." I did have the self talk. I'm like, "There is no way I'm gonna tap this, no matter how much it hurts." But during the heel hook, I didn't have any thoughts of tapping or anything like that. So
Now, that is interesting. Is that like a sentiment that you got from some people after that last fight? Like just thinking that you were grimacing from the pain of the submission more than, like you said, force of effort trying to get out of it?
yeah, obviously, because people were worried that just being in a submission and making a face of like like that, just making that face while in a submission, it makes it look like you're in pain. So. But yeah, it's whatever, at the end of the day, like I'm just more thinking, I'm like, man, I wonder what that did to the rounds because that whole haven't lost a round thing and whatever. I really don't care about that. But I was just and I even asked the judges, I'm like, how would you score that round? Because like, I had like really good moments on the feet. Like, I rocked him on the feet and then I got a takedown slam. He did have the moment with the heel hook, but then after I got on top and I landed an elbow, cut him open, and then finished on top with some more ground and pound. So like, how would you score that? So that's it. That's what I'm saying. It's tough round to score. Like, I won the whole entire round, the one moment where I was in the heel hook. So I was asking them in the back, like, how would you score that? And and the guy's like, oh, it's based on however the judge. But like, that's what I was more thinking about after.
Yeah, and I know I've kind of mentioned it a couple times in a sense, but it is sort of a curiosity how just, subsequent or rather prior Battlefield featherweight champions have, gotten big victories on this platform and even specifically over Brokenshire and then, gone to the UFC thereafter. Like a guy like Jeremy Kennedy, for instance, had his final fight against Brokenshire at BFL 43 and then went to the UFC thereafter. So on an optics level, I would think that would have to excite you even in that kind of sense.
Yeah, it definitely does, man. And even like the last featherweight champion, Matteo Vogel, beat him and went to the Contender Series after too. So it definitely excites me, man. And I don't know why I do have a feeling like people are talking like I have the, it's not obviously as viral as my last one, but I just get the sense that people are like, okay, this kid's serious. He's not just a viral knockout guy. And yeah, it just I have a feeling something good's gonna come out of it. If not though, man, like I said, I really like I'm just going with the flow at this point. I'm just happy to compete, man. After the long layoff I've had, to be able to get 5 fights in like what 15 months or so, it's been a blessing. And like I would never turn down more experience, at the end of the day. Obviously if they want me to get in contenders, I'm gladly will take that. But I'm not frowning at getting more experience or anything like that because I'm just enjoying the journey at this point.
Yeah, and I'd also seen in an article done on the UFC website prior to this fight that like one of your ideal outcomes from this fight was kind of like putting yourself more on that international level. Like I feel like people who follow the sport in Canada very much know who you are, but it seems like there's that level of, I guess, penetration in terms of like the awareness in the mainstream MMA space. Like I feel like I've seen a few of those like prospect watch style articles that really tout you as a guy the UFC should sign in the calendar year as well. So I guess just relative to where you're at, like do you feel like the awareness in what you're doing has increased more so on that international level? I mean, kind of soon to say after the last fight, but just curious to, get your thoughts on that.
I mean, it should because I've only really fought like one Canadian prospect so far, which was Maxine for the title. But my last three opponents were all from different countries, so I think it definitely I have a case to be made to to be put on more of that international like radar. But I can't control what people see, Like all I can control is what I can do, and if that gets their attention, I honestly think after, especially after the last knockout, yeah, definitely. But even with this, after all these prospect pages are definitely posting me like MMA prospects and stuff, I think it definitely did help get more eyes on me for sure. And yeah, doing interviews like I am right now, it definitely helps too. So just gonna keep doing what I can to get my name out there.
Yeah, and I was also seeing prior to the fight, you were looking at maybe even getting a fight, before May and just, yeah, like looking to maybe even get like some contender series opportunity thereafter. I mean, you were kind of talking about how you feel like you're ready to go next week for another fight, even. Like, does that timeline still make sense to you as far as like your roadmap for 2025 in an ideal sense?
It really does, and like I'm trying to stay active. I don't want to sit around and wait for a call for contender series, and maybe I don't get it, then I wasted some time. It's like if it does has like 8 pro fights. It doesn't hurt to stay active, man. Especially, I'm confident in myself. I know I can win against, anybody. So I'm not going to be sitting around trying to hide my record, trying to protect my record at this point because I know that if I get more experience, I'm only going to come out better from it. So yeah, I would like to figure out something with contender series, but at the end of the day, I'm not like, I'm not gonna you know, sit on the bench and waste more time because, we only have one chance at this thing and I'm not trying to waste time, waiting around because I know I'll be on Contender Series. It's only a matter of time. So I'll get there eventually and, the experience will benefit me at the end of the day. So why not?
Yeah, and I mean, you're in a great place now for sure. Like Battlefield Fight League, obviously one of the most tenured, reputable promotions in Canada, and just, being on UFC Fight Pass and the attention that provides. So, yeah, I mean, it's good to like look forward and whatnot, but also good to kind of be aware of, I guess, like the present situation because, being champion of BFL definitely carries a lot of benefits. Like I was even talking to, Michael Chiesa about that the other day, like more so outside opportunities instead of like the competition opportunities for him. I mean, he was a former fighter for BFL, just but like even like the analyst gigs that he's been able to get with them now, it just seems like BFL is like a great promotion to facilitate different kind of opportunities and stuff like that.
Yeah, he was a BFL alumni. But yeah, no, for sure. Like even, but I am honestly, I'm trying to get any fight. Like even before, even after my last one, I was looking at fights in different promotions. I was just trying to get a fight. Like I was trying to fight for the Fury belt in like December. They didn't want to take it. I was looking at Tough Enough, like any promotion that can find me a fight, I'm willing to take, you know. Battlefields are just it's just easier for Battlefield because I hold a belt there and people want a belt. So then they come out of the woodworks to try to get one. So it's still hard, even with a belt, honestly. Drew accepted it and we had a list of guys that we are going through. So it's still not that easy to get me a fight, man. And yeah, that's why I'm taking any opportunity I can get. That's why I refuse to pull out of this fight because I know it's not easy to get me a fight. So I gotta take every opportunity I can get.
And I'm sure that galvanizes your confidence in a certain regard, just how difficult the camp was and the, myriad of issues you needed to work through. And then you still, put on an emphatic performance like that. And just, I would think that there would be a lot of confidence taken from, what you were able to do in less than ideal circumstances on a preparatory level and everything.
Yeah, like I said, I already had the confidence, or else I wouldn't have fought. But it just comes from a level of maturity. Like I've been at a point in my career where I felt like, oh my God, I can't fight unless I have a whole 8 week camp or everything goes perfect or all that stuff. And it doesn't get you anywhere, man. This is a game of opportunities. And if you're not ready to take an opportunity, you're gonna miss out. And yeah, definitely just going through, like I said, that definitely I grew a lot as a fighter, as a person, just going through camp day after day, knowing I can't train the way I want to, I can't do this the way I want to. And, coming off that knockout, having more eyes on me, having a lot of expectation, getting prospect of the year here and there. And just going through all of that and having the camp I did and knowing that no matter what, I'm gonna go in there and give it my best. And I want to go in there and still do better than the last two featherweight champs and really stamp my place as like a top prospect in Canada. Doing all that, it just really made me grow mentally as a fighter, as a person. So, like I said, that was invaluable experience. The fight itself gave me invaluable experience. I'd never been through a fight that bloody, going through that was a whole nother thing. And even Drew even landed a punch on me, and like I don't think I even been punched on the feet once. And he was like talking to me during the fight, which distracted me for a second. And he landed a punch, and I was like, "Whoa!" So there's so much new things I experienced. Like I said, I'm so young in my career. Most of the time, I just dominate and get out of there without even a slight scratch. But it was such a great thing, man. I experienced so much new things leading into the fight with camp. Experienced so much new things in the fight, and yeah, I just walked away from that with the win, with more notoriety, and most importantly, with like a ton of experience that I hadn't had before. So I'm just grateful for the whole thing.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, man. I guess I didn't really think to pose this question to you, but it just kind of dawned on me just because of the proximity, I guess. Like, would there be any desire to, check out that UFC Seattle fight, like to be there live and in person, maybe even in like a quasi like networking kind of capacity, just getting out there? Or is that not even something you've really thought of in that kind of sense?
No, I've thought of it, but like I said, I went to the Edmonton event recently and did, my kind of socializing there and like, got to talk to the UFC matchmaker and meet some people. But uh yeah, I think right now I'm actually looking at going on vacation with my wife and stuff. So I just want to get that out of the way and get back to training. So I'll let the Seattle card play itself out. I already know I don't have, a visa or anything like that. So it's not like I would be, on the short list of replacements and all that stuff. So that's awesome that they're gonna go to Seattle. Like it looks like a great card. I'm excited for it. Hopefully Mike gets a fight there. And yeah, I'll be watching as a spectator. But um, yeah, I've already rubbed shoulders with some people. Got my face out there in the Edmonton card where it made more sense because it's a Canada card. So yeah, I'll definitely be watching Seattle though as a fan like always.
Yeah, no, fair enough, man. What are the vacation plans? Where are you guys heading out to?
We're gonna do the old fashioned all inclusive somewhere, a resort, somewhere nice, somewhere warm. The wife definitely deserves it, man. She puts up with so much crap from me. This fight career is draining. It's straining on a family for sure, especially a young family. My daughter's like 1, and I've been in camp ever since she was born. So yeah, it's definitely they definitely both deserve it. So I'm gonna take my girls out to resort somewhere warm.
No, that sounds beautiful, man. Definitely well deserved. You've been, very active lately. I mean, just the point that you articulated there, if you've been in like perpetual training camps since your, child was born. So definitely some well deserved time off, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's rough sometimes, but as a man, that's how you show your love, right? You got to work really hard so that they can have a easier life, hopefully, in the future. And that's how I show my love, at least. And it's rough sometimes, but it'll be worth it. I'm hoping to make it all worth it.
I would think that would also be an example that was kind of set by, different people in your family, like just with your dad also having previously fought in BFL and obviously being, a well tenured martial artist and stuff like that. Like I'm sure there's, lessons taken from that as well that you're looking to also apply now that you're a father and everything.
Yeah, man, the best lesson you learn is through martial arts, the discipline, the hard work it takes, the respect you get for the people above you and stuff like that. So, that's one thing I'm definitely going to instill in my daughter is, martial arts. That she doesn't have to obviously be a fighter, but she's going to learn a lot of valuable life skills through martial arts, self-defense and all that. So, yeah, I'm grateful that I was able to be raised in that environment. It gave me everything I have. So why not pass on what I know to my offspring and give them a better chance at life?
I mean, that's a beautiful sentiment, man, but I figured I'd also give you the floor in case you had anything you wanted to add as a final parting thought as we're kind of wrapping things up here, Radley. I do appreciate you making the time after another big victory.
Maybe I just like to thank my sponsors, man, for getting me to that fight. Yeah, you don't get much out of it, sponsoring a, local athlete, whatever. And I'm not on the biggest stage yet. So they're really doing it out of the goodness of their heart. So shouts out to Fairfax Partners, MGN Construction, Easy Broad Delivery, The Vape Father, Strike Recovery. I check up with Vancouver, as always, my family, and Pinnacle MMA, Axion Promo, to just, guys that really believe in me as much as I believe in myself and help me get to the day of the fight because it was rough, man. And like I said, I toughed it through and got the result I really wanted. So I'm so happy with that.
Yeah, it was a beautiful performance and, excited to see the next one. The vibe I'm getting from you is like maybe it'll be sooner rather than later, potentially. Obviously, a, great bit of vacation time to be had, which, that'll be awesome. But yeah, no, just to say great performance and, excited to see your next fight whenever that may be. But yeah, it was a great effort at BFL 82 and just really wanted to thank you for coming on the MMA Canada platform today. And yeah, thanks so much, Radley, and you enjoy the rest of your day as well, man.
Awesome, brother. Thanks for having me, man. It's always good to chat.